We are back on the record after taking a short break, and Attorney Winston, you can go ahead and begin with your cross-examinations, Ms. Bates.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. Bates, just to clarify, so the claims that you're alleging in this case, and I'll go through one by one and you can say correct or incorrect. The first is going to be discrimination based upon not being able to pass medications or not only passing medications because of your color, race, and pregnancy. Is that correct?
What?
Sorry, you're saying that you're discriminated against because of the terms and conditions of your employment because you're not allowed to only pass medications.
No, not just because I'm not allowed to pass medications, because they fired me. They took my job for no reason.
Okay, but one of the things that you're saying is that by not passing medications, and I guess supervising as well, you say that you believe that you should have only passed medications and supervised, and they discriminated against you based on your color, race, and pregnancy by not letting you do that. Is that correct?
No, it's not just they did not let me pass medication. It's because of the process and how they treated me. They treated me differently by not, putting my name as team lead and stuff like that.
Okay.
By not training right away to do the job that they hired me to do. I was treated differently. It's not just because I wasn't allowed to pass medication. That's just one part of it.
Yeah. So, and I'll get to the schedule as well. But one of the claims, not your only claim, is about the medications and supervising. Correct?
Huh?
One of your claims, not the only claim, but one of the claims.
That was the only one, and that's not the only reason.
Sorry, I apologize if I said that. I meant to say one of your claims is the color, race, and pregnancy with medication passing.
That's one of the correct.
Okay. All right. Like you said, another is that you were not listed as a team lead on the schedule, and you believe that was because of your race and color.
Yeah, I was treated differently because of my race. Yes.
Okay. In other words, you think you were terminated because of your pregnancy.
My race.
Okay. Yep. And then the final was the retaliation, which you talked with the judge just a second ago.
Correct.
So you believe you were fired in retaliation for complaining. Okay. Do you have any other claims?
No, I guess that's it.
Okay. So just some background.
Well, I have another claim. After the firing and everything, I was being told by ex-employees that the company was stating that the reason that they fired me is because I committed elderly abuse. So there was some slander on my name as well that was going along with this whole thing. They were slandering my work reputation, and while having me in a hostile environment, which is a violation of pregnancy laws in the workplace as well.
And did you include that in your complaint?
I believe it included that they were slandering my name in there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Judge, can we pull up it's Exhibit R7?
Just 1 second.
Okay.
I have to scroll down.
Okay.
Is it R7?
Oh, sorry. R10. Looking at the wrong tab.
Great. Do you want to start on the first page of this or the
how about we start on, I believe it's the third page, the actual complaint.
All right. Ms. Bates, can you see this okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Do you recognize this document, Ms. Bates?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
It's my complaint that I put in against Artisan.
Okay. And in this complaint, you know, you just said you alleged that, you know, Artisan alleged you of elder abuse, or alleged that you committed elder abuse. Can you read through this and show me where you said that Artisan did that?
Get it to this page with the writing. Can you see that, Miss Bates, or do you need me to make it bigger?
I can see that.
All right, if you want to just read it, and then when you get to the point, 'cause there's a second page here as well. So when you read the first page, you don't have to read it out loud. You can read it to yourself.
Well, I don't have to read it because in here it probably isn't in this one where, hold on, let me see here. Uh-oh. It says swipe left to go back. Hold on.
Can you still see
Let's
it?
see the second page of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't see it here, but I know that when I appealed it, I believe I put that in there.
But you did not allege anything about your elder abuse claim by
Well,
Artisan.
couldn't get it all. I couldn't get everything in there. As you can see, I was running out of space, writing and stuff like that.
But
So I to get the complaint in. So I didn't put every single detail of every negative thing that happened to me, which I should have. But yeah, I didn't put everything in there. But that's needless to say, it still happened.
Okay, but it's not in your complaint. It's not on these 3 pages that we just looked over. Is that right?
Right, correct.
Okay. So moving on just to some background. How long have you been working in nursing?
I've been in nursing probably like 20 years now.
Okay. Do you know about what year you started? You know.
Yeah, I started back in 2000.
Okay. And what drew you to nursing? What made you want to become a nurse?
Because I enjoy helping people.
Okay. And I think before, you know, you said you're a CNA. Do you have your CNA license?
Not anymore.
Okay. But when you were working for Artisan and De Pere, you did. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you have any other licenses?
No.
Did you have any other certificates, certifications, anything like that?
Probably just the CPR, and I got some certificates for working in a CBRF, medication certificates. I have medication training, so that's with the state of Wisconsin. So if you look me up as a CNA, you'll see that I have medication certificates and stuff like that to pass meds.
Okay. So since you started in the nursing field in 2000, well, I guess you said you don't have your CNA license anymore. When did you stop working as a CNA?
Last year.
Okay, so 2020?
Yep.
And what are you doing now?
I'm staying at home.
Okay. So you're unemployed right now?
Correct.
Okay. So if you've been working since 2000, have you had a lot of jobs? Have you had several steady jobs?
No, I had one job, and they came down with the coronavirus there, and in my department, and so I went on a leave from there, and I haven't been back.
Okay, but looking back to 2000, and if I ask a question poorly, feel free to tell me, ask me to rephrase it. I'll ask bad questions, and I apologize. I'll try to catch them, before they come out and rephrase it. But if I do ask bad questions, feel free to tell me. So going back to 2000, are you able to remember every job that you worked, every employer you worked for?
Yeah, I only worked for one employer.
Okay. Going back to 2000 when you first started working? I'm not since after Artisan, but going back to starting in 2000 when you started. Can you remember every employer? Are there too many? Is there a certain point where you can remember every job that you worked?
There was only one employer.
Okay.
You said in 2000?
Yeah, so you said you started nursing in 2000. I guess, maybe that's asking too much to go back that far in your job history.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, and why do we need to go back until 2000 with my work history?
Okay, how about we go to say the beginning of, how about 2015? Do you remember everything before that?
Why is this relevant though? My work history in regards to this situation.
Well, I'm asking because, like Artisan saying is that on your employment application you did not list all of your employers, and so I'm just going to find the employers that you worked for. So I guess let's go to.
Artisan is saying that I did not list my employers, but again, that's a lie. I did list my employers, and the employer that they claim they fired me for, they were signing off my time slips when I was working for that company. Tara and Ashley was. So you can go back through my work history as much as you like. They knew that I worked for that company.
Okay, and I guess we'll get back to that later. So just generally going to your other nursing jobs, your other CNA jobs. What kind of tasks did you normally have to do as part of your employment?
What kind of tasks do I have to do as part of my employment?
Yeah, and just speaking generally, what did you do on a day-to-day basis?
It depends on what I'm hired for. I mean, as a CNA, I could take care of people and or be people companion and just transport them to certain places. At other jobs, I did private care where I did everything for my clients. Just depends. But with Artisan, I got hired to be a team lead, and I never got a chance to do the position that I was hired for because I was discriminated against.
Okay. Had you ever been a team lead or any kind of supervisor before Artisan?
Yes, I have, working, again, doing private home care. I would go to the client's home, and they would have charts, and I would, basically fulfill all their needs, medication, transporting, outings, medical appointments. That's what I did in private care and hospice. So I was able to do that. So yes, I have practiced in a lead position before with my CNA license. Again, Artisan hired me to do a job that they never allowed me to do due to discrimination.
And so in those private home care that you said, you were a lead for, you said that you had to do medication, care. So you were taking care of the patients, the residents, whatever we want to call them today, while you were doing that lead position. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in other nursing jobs, did you ever, I guess outside of the private home care, if you ever worked in a facility, did you pass medication?
Yes. Yes, that's why I have my license to do it, because I obviously was trained to give medications at some point.
Okay. And so for those other jobs that you pass medication within these facilities, did they have their own separate training apart from your certification that
Did they have
a specific facility?
they had their own training within the facility. They all do. You have to follow the procedures of that company, and each company is different.
So when you pass medications for those employers, did you just pass medications, or were you also still required to do cares for patients?
It depends on a position I got hired for. If I got hired just to pass medications, then yes, that's what I did. I passed medications. If I got hired, to be a CNA / medication aid, then I would do, my CNA work and medication aid work. It depends on the position. That was that. But those other jobs has nothing to do with Artisan and what Artisan did.
Okay, but just confirming, there were CNA positions where you both cared for patients and passed medications, right?
No, I did things differently. I mean, when I did hospice care, yes, I would go into the client's home and I would do everything for them, but I was still working within the title that they had given me, and I was doing the stuff that they hired me to do. Whereas at Artisan, they didn't allow me to work the title that they gave me.
Okay. And how did you hear about the Artisan Senior Living in De Pere?
Again, I worked through a temp agency for Artisan. So that's how I heard of them, was through a company called Arcadia. Arcadia would send me out to Artisan for work. And the other way that I heard of them was through my niece, who was also working for Artisan at the time.
And so you mentioned Arcadia, and that's the staffing agency, correct?
Correct.
What dates did you work for Arcadia?
This has been over 2 years ago. So I'm not sure of the dates. I just know it was during the summertime, and I was picking up a lot of hours with Arcadia for Artisan during the summertime. I don't know if it was July or if it was August, but it was definitely during the summer of 2018 that I was working for Artisan through Arcadia.
And did you work for Arcadia at all at the same time you worked for Artisan? Did they overlap at all?
No, they didn't overlap. When Artisan decided to hire me on, I was no longer working for Arcadia.
And so in working for Arcadia, did Arcadia tell you what assignments you would have? Did the assignments come directly from Arcadia, the staffing agency, as opposed to Artisan?
Yeah, we had our own set of procedures that we had to go by. But when we get to the company, we have to do what the company asks of us while we're there.
Okay. But is it correct that Arcadia would tell you, hey, can you go work or we need you to work at Artisan on Monday night?
Yeah, they would, ask me if I could go, because we pretty much had our independent, schedules that we were able to make. So
it wasn't Artisan who called you and said, hi, Annie, are you able to work tonight? It was Arcadia, the staffing agency.
No, Arcadia they would talk to my niece and communicate with me through my niece and say, hey, well, can you get your aunt out here because we're low on staff today. So then I would call my company, Arcadia, and say, hey, Arcadia, they got a shift open for me tonight. I like to take that. And, we would communicate that way.
But it was still ultimately Arcadia who had to say, you have to get, or we're assigning you to Artisan tonight. Is that correct?
They were assigning me or not, but Artisan was requesting me.
And how do you know that Artisan was requesting you?
Because I was talking directly through with my niece. They will be going through her, asking me to come and work out there. That's how.
And were you listening in on those conversations? Were you on the phone with her?
We were texting each other. Me and my niece will be texting, and we will be going from there. And basically, I was able to get hours because they were requesting me.
Do you know how Artisan told your niece that they wanted you? Did they text her? Did they talk to her in person? Do you know?
Sometimes they would talk to her in person, and other times they would send a text. Yes.
Did you see any of those texts?
I didn't ask any of the texts, no.
Okay, and so you don't have any copies of the texts with you here today?
I'm pretty sure my niece can get some copies of the text, and she was willing to testify today, but you guys didn't want to have her testimony, so.
But as it stands right now, you don't have them?
I personally don't have them, no.
Okay. And you haven't seen them?
No.
Okay. So when you left, when did you stop working for Arcadia? I understand that you worked for them at Artisan in the summer of 2018, but when did you stop being employed by Arcadia?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the dates. I'm guessing it was like in September maybe of 2018.
Okay. And did you quit Arcadia? Were you terminated? What were the circumstances of you leaving there?
They just stopped calling me for work. So I guess, I don't know if they claim they didn't terminate me, but I wasn't getting any work, so I had to find work somewhere. And so that's why I went to Artisan, but they just stopped calling me.
Okay. So we know that you applied to work at Artisan, obviously. How did you apply? Was there an online application, a paper application?
It was a paper application, and they had me to come in and fill it out.
Okay. Judge, can we get Exhibit R1, please?
Up. And again, Miss Bates, when I get there, if you have problems reading it, let me know. It looks like it's a couple pages. This is the first page. Can you see that, Miss Bates?
Yeah, I can see that.
It will be 4 total pages. if you want to take a minute, do you want to look through the document, read through it?
Let me know when you want me to move on to the next page.
Can you go up?
Sure.
Okay.
This is the next page. I may have to move down when you get through this to see the rest of the page.
Okay. You can go down more. All right.
And the same thing with this page, although it looks like that might be the only text on that page.
Okay.
And this is the last page, I believe.
Okay.
So you can go ahead, Attorney Woodson. I think she's read it all now.
All right. Ms. Bates, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's the application.
Okay. And is this the application that you submitted, or the job application that you submitted to Artisan?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the last page that we're looking at?
Correct.
And the date is, it looks like November 11th, 2018. Does that look right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Judge, if we can go back to the first page of this document. Thank you.
First page.
Right. So Ms. Bates, there, kind of in the middle of the page, it says that you applied for a med tech position. Where did you hear about that position?
That I heard about that position through Tara and Ashley, through my niece who was also working there, and also they had it advertised online.
Do you remember where it was advertised online?
I would like to say Indeed.
All right. And so the job that you wanted to do for Artisan was the med tech, and what did that consist of?
Basically, just passing meds.
So only passing medications, nothing else.
I'm sure with passing meds, there's paperwork to be filled out, and medication that comes in and out of the facility that you have to keep track of and do count with and stuff like that. But yeah, they had a med tech position available at the time, and because I was so far along in my pregnancy, I was not trying to do just the regular CNA position. So I wanted to do more of a med tech position to keep the strain from off of my body.
Okay.
And they had it. They had the position available. They told me about it. It was advertised. So that's what I applied for.
Okay. So Judge, we can go to the second page of this document.
That's the second page.
Yep, perfect. All right. So on the top of the second page, it says to please list your work experience for the past 3 jobs, beginning with your most recent job held. If you were self-employed, please, or give firm name. Attach additional sheets if necessary. Do you see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for those 3 jobs, without listing every specific piece of information, the 3 employers that you listed were ARCO Nursing, or AACO Nursing, sorry, Atrium Post Care, and Manitowoc Home Health. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the most recent job is that AACO Nursing, and it says you worked there from March 29th, 2018 to the present, which I'm assuming would have been when you filled out the application. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you were still employed by AACO when you applied?
Correct. You work
Okay.
for several agencies at one time.
All right. Did you continue working there while you were employed by Artisan, or did you leave it at any time?
No, I was still there. I just stopped last year.
Okay. And is that a staffing agency? Is that a facility?
That is a staffing agency, just like Arcadia. We travel and go to different nursing facilities.
Okay. And before that, you have Atrium Post Care, and that was October 2016 to November of 2017, correct?
Yeah.
And then the last one is Manitowoc Home Health, and that was, does it say February 5th of 1994, or is that 2014?
I believe that's 2014.
Okay, sorry. I misread that. And then that is until September 18th of 2016, correct?
Correct.
And you said you worked for Arcadia up until about September of 2018, right?
Right.
And Arcadia is not listed in these three employers?
No, Arcadia is not listed because they already knew I was working for Arcadia. They were giving me shifts through Arcadia. So basically, they already knew about Arcadia. So it was nothing for me to put down on the application about Arcadia because they already knew I worked for that company. So I was giving them more of the previous companies that I had worked for because, again, it made no sense for me to put down Arcadia when they were calling me through Arcadia and asking me to work for them. So that was already known about.
Okay. And do you know the process for Artisan to call Arcadia and request temporary employees?
Do I know the process for
Yes.
Artisan?
You know what would happen between, Artisan needing an employee and Arcadia sending an employee? Do you know what happened between them needing an employee and an employee showing up?
Do I know what happened?
Yeah. Do you know what the process was? Were you ever there for Artisan calling Arcadia and saying, we need an employee?
It's just a simple call. There's really no process. It's a phone call to the company. And basically, if they have the person, have a person available, they just call and ask for someone. And then, they give the employee time to get to the facility. Like for me, sometimes they will let us know days in advance. Okay, I got, 3 shifts coming up this weekend. Do you want to take any of them? And it will go like that. But I could talk to either my company, Arcadia, at the time, or I could talk to Artisan. Artisan was in need of people, so basically they started to, contact us directly, and ask us to work for them. And then we would just contact our employers and say, I'm gonna pick up these shifts, and they would just okay the shifts.
Okay. Did you ever request temporary employees while you worked for Artisan?
Did I ever temporarily?
Did you ever, while you were working for Artisan, did you ever call Arcadia and say, I need a temporary employee?
No.
So you weren't involved in that process on Artisan's end?
No.
When you worked for Arcadia, did you ever receive a call from Artisan saying, we need an employee on this and this day?
Yes, I was calls a lot from them.
But were you the person in charge for Arcadia? And I'm sorry if Artisan and Arcadia are close. So if I missed up, I apologize. Correct myself. So were you the employee for Arcadia that was responsible for getting calls from care facilities about their needs?
No.
Were you the person who was in charge of assigning employees to these facilities who needed employees?
No.
Okay. Do you know what information Arcadia gave to Artisan about who would be coming on a particular day?
No, if it was involving, them trading me or giving me hours there, no, all of that stuff is confidential.
Okay, so you don't know if Artisan said or Arcadia said we're sending we're going to send Annie Bates versus we're going to send employee 13 versus we're going to send someone. You don't know what they told Artisan.
I know for a fact, if Artisan asks for an employee, they always gave the name of the employee that they were sending over to Artisan, always.
And how do you know that?
Because that was their procedure. That's how they had to do it. They had to know who was coming into the facility, because there were so many different agencies and stuff like that they would work with. They would have to keep track. Well, this is Annie. She's coming from Arcadia, or this is Helen. She's coming from, Guardian. So they always knew what agency that we were coming from and who it was that was coming from the agency. So they always disclosed that.
Okay. Were you in charge of scheduling temporary employees for Artisan?
No, I was not.
Okay. So you don't know, you never received the information from Arcadia while working from Artisan about what employee was going to show up. You just had an understanding.
I received that information from my employer, Arcadia, at the time. If they were sending me over to Artisan, they would let us know the procedure as to how they were doing it and how they were going about it and how we needed to wear our badges and so on and so forward. But I do know for a fact that if Arcadia sent me over to Artisan for work, Artisan knew that I was coming, what shift I was doing. They knew my first and last name, and they knew which company I was coming from.
And did you see this information ever that Arcadia gave to Artisan?
Yes, we did receive that information. We were doing that by text messaging.
No, but sorry, let me rephrase my question. Did you ever see the communication that Arcadia sent to whoever was doing the scheduling at Artisan, who you've said is not you, about who was going to be scheduled or what information they provided?
Correct. Because basically we were doing a lot of this stuff by text messaging. And so my company, Arcadia, would say, Annie, I need you to go over to Artisan on this day for work. Can you pick up this shift? I would say yes. And then my company, Arcadia, would then get confirmation through text messaging from Artisan that yes, we will accept Annie to come in and work on this day. And then my company will send that text back to me and say, look, they confirmed this shift for you, Annie. So you're good to go. You can go in for work.
And do you have those text messages with you?
Yes, I do still have those text messages to this day, yes.
And can you access them?
Can I access them from the phone that we're on right now? No.
Okay. So we've established that you worked for Arcadia and that you didn't put it on the job application. Does the job application anywhere say, list your jobs except for those ones that we know about?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. And so you knew when you were filling out the application that you were not putting Arcadia on there. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I work for Arcadia again.
Okay. Judge, can we go to the last page of this document?
Do you see that, Ms. Bates? It's a little bit small print.
Yeah, it.
Okay.
All right. So at the top of this page, in all caps, bolded, do you see it says, please read carefully?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see that it says below that again, all caps, bolded, application form waiver?
Yeah.
All right. So the first few sentences of this, let's read through it. So it says that I certify that my application and attachments are true and complete to the best of my knowledge. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
Okay. And the next sentence says, I understand that if any incorrect, incomplete, or false statements or information are furnished by me, may, at the discretion of the Mosaic Management Group, LLC, disqualify me from employment or cause my dismissal. Do you see those?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've said that this is your signature in November 11th, 2018, written by you below that, correct?
Correct.
And so you understood when you submitted this, by signing this, that if you submitted incorrect information, that you could either not be hired, or if somehow you were fired, it could cause you to be terminated, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you ever update your application to give Artisan any additional information?
No, I didn't need to.
Okay. And was the information that you provided on your application accurate and correct?
It was. Mm-hmm.
But we've just said you did not put List Arcadia on the list of most recent employers.
Because I already, the Artisan already knew I worked for Arcadia. It was a verbal agreement that we talked about and we discussed. They was already, giving me hours through them. So I didn't need to list that. We discussed that I didn't need to list that. So I didn't put them down on the application. I didn't lie about anything on my application, and I didn't hide anything on my application. So the information on the application is true and correct, and there was nothing on my application that would cause me to be terminated.
So even though the application asks for your 3 most recent jobs, and you did not put one of your 3 most recent jobs, it is still accurate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's still because part of the background check that they made me wait before I can even work. They basically access for your employee work history. The work history is part of that background check. So even though that's not a part of your exhibit, that's still information that they pulled up on me. So that still showed that I work for Arcadia.
Okay.
Okay. I know that, they have that in the record. So again, I didn't hide anything.
Do you have any emails, text messages, letters, notes from anyone at Artisan saying, hey, we know you worked for Arcadia?
Yes. What my witnesses were going to attest to that you're not allowing today.
Were those people that have this information, were they the people that hired you? Were they your supervisors?
They were my my coworkers there at the time.
They were your they were not the people that hired you?
No, but they were coworkers who worked with me while I was there.
Okay. So after you submitted your job application, did someone from Artisan reach out to you?
Yeah, I believe Tara and Ashley reached out and said that the background check came back all clean, and I could go ahead and start working.
So was there any interview?
Yeah, that was the interview. The date, the 11th, was the day I went in and they did the background check. And when the background check came back, I was able to start working. I believe it was like 2 days later.
Okay, so you submitted your application. Did you interview on the same day you submitted your application?
Yeah, it was the 11th, the day that is marked down and signed. That's the day that I did my interview. I filled out the application. They said when the background check comes back, they will basically, let me know when I can start. It came back and I started on the 13th.
Okay, and then just again to verify, you interviewed with, it would be Ashley Martell and Tara St. Jean?
Correct.
Okay. And when you interviewed, I have to ask this Now in COVID times, was it in person? Were you in the same room?
Well, at that time, there was no COVID going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're all in the same room together.
Different times. Did they tell you what job you were interviewing for?
Yeah, they told me that I was interviewing for the team lead position, which is pretty much similar to the med tech position that I wanted.
Okay, but they didn't say you're interviewing for a med tech position. They said team lead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did they tell you that you would only be passing medication during the interview?
Yes, they did.
Did you talk about anything else during the interview?
We talked about my niece, TC, and how great of a worker she was, and how she was such a blessing, and the fact that they were happy to have me on with my niece.
Okay. So, you know, in general, you've worked at nursing facilities, home care, whatnot. Do you think that these nursing homes, assisted living facilities, hospices, home care, those serve more vulnerable populations, right? They're people that are not fully able to take care of themselves.
Correct.
And they're in those facilities or they're receiving that care because they can't fully care for themselves.
Correct.
Do you think that honesty is a necessary trait for someone who's taking care of other people?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Do you know anyone who's lost their job for being dishonest?
No.
So if you were an employer, would you hire someone who, you know, walked into the room and they asked you what color your hair is? You know, you said blue, but it's brown. Or, you know, someone who came in and said, you know, I've never been, would you hire someone who lied to you during a job interview?
No, I wouldn't. But again, you know, this is very irrelevant because your whole claim is based on the fact that I lied to the company when I'm telling you I established a relationship with the company through a temp agency prior to, and you just want to continue to discredit that fact, but those facts will still remain that I had a relationship with these people beforehand and I didn't lie to them about anything. So, I mean, you can, you know, come up with all these different scenarios all day long. I was discriminated against, and that's why we're here at court today. And I'm not going to stop until I get some type of justice out of this whole ordeal. I was treated, you know, harshly, unfairly, and it's just wrong. And at the time, I really needed my income, being pregnant and being, you know, with a little kid and a baby on the way at the time all by myself. Like, I'm not gonna let this go easily, you know, regardless to the situation. If I gotta appeal this case, I'm gonna appeal it, but I'm not gonna stop until I seek some type of justice from this ordeal. I did not lie about anything.
Okay. So, you know, after the interview, you're obviously hired. Does November 27th sound correct for the day you started working?
No, November 27th does not sound correct. Like I said, the day that I did the application, I was working just a couple of days after, as soon as that background check came in. And you guys have that in my records.
Okay, Judge, can we go to Exhibit R6?
Just a second.
Hold on.
This is R6.
Okay.
I may have to scroll down if you need me to. Can you
Okay.
see that, Ms. Bates?
If you want to read through it, if you need to scroll down, that's fine.
Okay.
You need me to scroll down